Welcome to the weekly tasting. This is Jennifer Simonetti-Bryan, Master of Wine, and this week we are talking about Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir is a noble grape variety. What do I mean by that? Noble grape varieties are those that are really highly revered for their quality as well as ageability, and they have the same kinds of characteristics no matter where they're grown around the world. And even though the terroir that they're grown in can lend specific characteristics from that terroir, but in general it kind of stays the same kind of characteristics in general for the grape variety. So I used to work for the Burgundy Wine Company way back when, and the boss that I had at the time, I always remember him saying to me, Jennifer, you sow your oats in Bordeaux and you retire in Burgundy. So basically what he was saying is, people fool around with Cabernet Sauvignon, but when they're ready to grow up and settle down, it's with Pinot Noir. So I always remembered that, and I don't know why, maybe I'm a little biased then. I've always been a Pinot Noir fan since. And these wines are absolutely beautiful, especially if you're a Pinot Noir fan. So let's go through them. The first wine is from Chile. Now, you might not think of Chile when you think of Pinot Noir, but you will, because it's one of the new classics for Pinot Noir. Chile as a country is probably the longest and narrowest wine growing country in the world. And Chile's got a lot to deal with, right? Okay, so you got the Antarctic in the south. You've got an incredibly horrible desert up north. You've got the Andes Mountains to the east, which are probably some of the highest mountains in the world, and you've got the Pacific Ocean to the west. And there's also a current. The Humboldt Current comes up Chile, and it brings a cooling effect from the Antarctic. So it makes a lot of those coastal regions, like where this comes from, San Antonio Valley, it creates a very cool climate, perfect for Pinot Noir. And if you want to know where the San Antonio Valley is, you probably want to take Santiago, go 75 kilometers west, and then go a little bit south, and you hit the San Antonio Valley. So for that, and in this wine, it's very bright and fresh red fruit. Pinot Noir is known for being at the red fruit end of the spectrum. So I get some wild strawberry in here, a little earthiness, and perhaps a little bit of sage. And so there's an earthiness to this wine that I absolutely love. But it's got a lot of bright red fruit in there, and the acid in this is quite high. In terms of a food pairing, I think I would put this with a beef bourguignon or a beef stew. Why do I say that? Because in Burgundy, one of the classic dishes for red Burgundy, which is Pinot Noir, is beef bourguignon, which is red meat braised in red wine. And it brings out some of the beautiful flavors in the wine. It'll bring out that, pop of cherry color, cherry flavor, and then the wine with its acid will bring out the flavors of the stew. So I think that would be a great pairing. The next Pinot Noir in the flight is from New Zealand. Now, Pinot Noir is actually quite difficult to grow. It doesn't like all different kinds of conditions. I mean, it's like the opposite of the beach bunny that Grenache is. Even though it shares some cherry red fruit like Grenache, the structure is different, and it's a pain in the butt to grow for a lot of growers. It's like the Paris Hilton or the fashion diva of the grape world. It doesn't like too many climates. It only likes cool climates. Doesn't like too many varying temperatures. It only likes certain types of soils. So this is a big headache for a lot of grape growers. But in New Zealand, it's surrounded by ocean, right? So it's got all of this cool moderating influence of the ocean, which is a cooling effect, which Pinot Noir loves, but it also lifts the acidity and makes it a little bit lighter in body. So in comparison to the New Zealand, the Chilean Pinot Noir, the New Zealand Pinot Noir is a little bit lighter in body and higher in acidity. But on the nose, I get some strawberry and cherry flavors, and I get a little bit of spice there as well, maybe brown spice. I can't put my finger on it. But that acidity is going to lend itself very well for food pairing, and I would recommend a crab and avocado salad, where the high acidity is going to bring out some of the sweetness of the crab meat, and it's going to cut right through the avocado, preparing your palate for that next bite. So I think that would work very well if you want to go with that kind of a pairing. The third wine we have is from Oregon. Now, in the United States, we think of California as the biggest state of growing wine, and it is actually. If it were its own country, it would probably be one of the top 5 producing countries of the world, if not top 3. But Oregon is nowhere near that size in terms of production, but it does specialize in Pinot Noir. And a lot of the growing regions are on the west side of the Cascade Mountains. And what that does is it prevents that moderating influence from the Pacific Ocean up against the Cascade Mountains. So it keeps that cool air circulating through, and it's what makes Oregon, and particularly the Willamette Valley, a cool climate for Pinot Noir. Now, you get a lot of black cherry with Oregon Pinot Noir. That's what I get anyway. And definitely some spice here and a little bit of earthiness. I love Oregon Pinot Noirs, particularly from the Willamette Valley. There's a little bit of weight here and richness. I love these wines. It's not as high in acidity as the New Zealand Pinot Noir, but it's got a density and a concentration here in Oregon that I love. So in terms of food and wine pairing, one of the best I ever had with a Willamette Pinot Noir was actually prosciutto wrapped scallops with a little bit of pesto on top. Oh my God, it was so good. The prosciutto, or you can probably use bacon, is going to bring out maybe some of the spice of the wine and actually augment the cherry flavors of the wine. That's what protein does. And the high acidity is going to cut through some of the fat of the bacon as well as the scallop, preparing your palate for that next delicious bite. But that would be a wonderful pairing for this wine. I hope you like it because I love this wine. The last and final wine of this pack is a Pinot Noir from the Russian River Valley of California. The Russian River Valley makes some of the most expensive Pinot Noirs all throughout California, and there's no doubt as to why. They're some of the most high quality wines you get out of California. Pinot Noir in this area does well because you've got that moderating influence from the Pacific Ocean, and you get a marine layer morning fog that comes into the Russian River Valley, and that is a cooling effect that Pinot Noir loves. So that raises the acidity. But in comparison to the other regions, there's a density and a weight to this wine, and a warmth to it. It has a higher level of alcohol than the other ones in this flight, so you're going to get a warmth and a spice on that back palate. And in terms of characteristics on the nose, I always get, and it's going to sound weird, I mean, yeah, red cherry, but I get Coca-Cola and root beer kind of spice. I don't know why. I can't give you a scientific explanation as to why, but that's what I get in this wine, and I've always been able to identify it in exams. But this is a delicious, ripe, rich red Pinot Noir, and I think you are really going to enjoy this. In terms of a food pairing, I think maybe rotisserie chicken or turkey, or maybe even a grilled tuna steak. I think that would do very, very well with this wine. You're going to have, it's going to really make the red cherry pop in this wine. So that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed these wonderful Pinot Noirs. If you're a Pinot Noir lover, let me know what you think. And until next time, cheers.